had a spur of the moment idea to come back to the house because I was at work and I just wanted to film a video, and I really want to get back into the YouTube thing because it's fun and it's just sort of this nice creative outlet. But anyway, today's topic is about making mistakes and why mistakes are okay to make. So literally today, first day of the week, Monday, I go into work and I made a mistake at work today. And the mistake was honestly fairly minor in scope. And shout out to my manager if you're watching. I won't name his name, but I do have a good manager that, let's say, creates a safe space for us to make mistakes in and grow from and learn from. So I think that's definitely a very important thing to have, especially in corporate America. But there's a couple of different ways you can approach mistakes, right? The first way that I think a lot of people tend to approach them, and especially people that are younger, and I can say this because obviously I was younger at some point, and I've grown from that age, especially at the start of my career, is you do something wrong, you freak out, you maybe try to overcompensate, you get upset, you start blaming others, pointing the finger, and I think that's a lot of ego and pride, and you're new to this thing, you just want to make sure you're putting your best foot forward, and that's not the best way to approach it, right? And I do think it's very hard to go from something like that to something like what I'm about to explain, which is accepting the mistake, accepting it for what it is, apologizing, and moving forward with the right attitude. Okay, so in this case, this mistake I made, again, was minor, but I identified the issue, I knew what went wrong, I made the change that needed to be made so that we can move forward, and I apologized to my manager. Hey, I'm sorry for the oversight. Thanks for approving this thing that needs to get approved so we can move forward. Something very simple as that. Now, what is that going to allow you to do, right? When you move from that mind shift of the ego and pride to freaking out to sort of moving towards a more calculated response, a more grounded, mature response, that's going to make you more coachable. It's going to make you display a little bit more humility, right? I don't think there's ever been an interaction with someone that, and think about this in your normal life too. Imagine you're working with two different people. The first person takes it, let's say option one, they get upset, start pointing fingers, oh, it was my fault, it was their fault, or because the process this happened, or, oh man, XYZ excuses why this thing happened, versus the second person that says, oh, you know what? I'm sorry for that mistake. Let me go ahead and fix it, and let's just keep moving. You're going to want to work with the person that's more coachable, the person that shows a little more humility, right, in their approach. There's never been a case where I'm working with someone like that and I think it's a bad thing. Obviously, there's a difference between someone that makes mistakes and owns them and moves forward, and the occurrence of those same mistakes reduces, versus the person that just keeps making those mistakes and doesn't seem to learn from it. Those are two different options, right? I'm not suggesting that it's okay to just make mistakes all the time as long as you own them, because you can't say, oh, I messed up, but it's okay, I'll take care of it, or I messed up, oh, it's okay, I'll take care of it. At some point, you have to think to yourself, okay, you made the mistake already a couple of times, how come you haven't fixed it? Because ultimately, you need to learn from your mistake to improve. So really all this to say that if you become someone that's coachable, you become someone that shows a little bit of humility, people are going to want to work with you more. People are going to want to choose you on their team. People are going to want to get advice from you because you've been in the trenches, you've made the mistake, you've learned from it, you have the wisdom and the knowledge. So become that person, okay? And it takes time. When I was 24 and I started my career, I'm 32 now, so that's 8 years I've been in the same company working. I was not like this. And actually, one of my best friends, I've mentioned him here before, he's the one that really allowed for me to get to that next level by simply just telling me, don't react like that. It's okay. Get better. Just move forward. Keep moving forward. Despite everything else that's happening, just keep moving forward. So if you're in that beginning stage, you're listening to this video and you're thinking, oh, I made a mistake, don't immediately go into, oh, that's it. People are going to think I'm dumb. I can't believe I made that mistake. It shouldn't have happened to me. And by the way, it doesn't matter what level of the hierarchy you're on, okay? You should feel okay making mistakes, whether you're a junior, a senior, a staff, and even more so the staff engineers, the people that are really high up that make mistakes and own up to them and show that humility. People will want to follow them more because honestly, they just sound more human. You realize that you can connect with this person. They're not just, this leader that's like a robot and everything's perfect. It's like, no, these are normal people that also make mistakes and own them and focus on how to move forward. Okay? So if you're listening to this video, doesn't matter where on the ladder you are. I want to encourage you to try and adopt the mentality of, it's okay that I made the mistake. Let me take a step back. Let me think of how to prevent that mistake from happening again. And let me see what I can do. Maybe there's a process in place I can put for myself, or maybe a process that I can suggest for the business, maybe some documentation that I can write so others don't fall into the same mistake. And I would even encourage you to demo something like this, right? Let's say you made a mistake on a project you're working on. Maybe as part of a demo, you can say, hey, here's some of the interesting mistakes I made, and this is how I overcame them. And let me just scan myself in here. Here are the interesting mistakes I made, and this is how I overcame them. I think that's so valuable to the team. And if you're on a team that values that, and they see that you are bettering yourself, not just yourself, but for the team, I promise you, you will be more valuable than the person who never shows this type of humility and this type of, wisdom, right? So, just something I want to share today. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to learn from them. And sometimes it's better to do and then ask for forgiveness than ask first, right? I think that's the saying. I forgot the exact sort of phrasing. My wife told me early. Oh, I just came in through the wrong way. And that's what happens when you're recording in the car, but that's all right. See, that's another mistake I made. I could have gone crazy, could have maybe kept going in the same direction, but instead we're correcting ourselves here. So do the thing. Don't worry about making your mistakes. If you make a mistake, move forward, grow from it. These are the small things that will allow you to just excel in your career and become that much better. And I promise you, again, I know I've already said this like multiple times, that I promise you, if you can become the guy in your team that is just doing everything right and owning up to your mistakes, and people see like, man, this person, not only are they so smart, but they're just a joy to work with. Man, if they mess something up, I know they're not going to blame anyone. They're going to take ownership of it. They're just going to figure out a way how to make it better, and that's going to just impact everyone on your team. Everyone's going to feel that. Everyone's going to start becoming that way. Like, in a way, you can influence the team. You can sort of exhibit these leadership qualities. Good leaders make mistakes, and good leaders own up to them, and they teach. It's like when you're a kid and you learn by observation, right? Imagine your parents do something that's not great and they react to it in a very negative way. You're also going to grow up to react to these things in a negative way. I always thought to myself, when I become a parent, when bad things happen, I want to try and stay grounded and react to them in a normal, grounded way, and ask myself how I can prevent that from happening again, because I know that will help me teach my kids how to be stronger and more resilient in life. And I do think with how much is happening in the world today, it's good to develop that resiliency and mindset to just overcome things and feel okay to make mistakes and learn from them. So hopefully this inspired some of you, maybe younger people out there, or maybe people that are my same age, 32 years old. Don't feel bad about making mistakes. Learn from them, get better, always get better, and just develop that mindset. That mindset will become your reality. And once you sort of let go of that, you will just free yourself up to do better and more productive, more efficient work. So with all that being said, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Later.